Hi, everybody. So put it on this one first. Oh, I see that my OBS is a little bit out of it. Hi, Hell Knight. So last time we actually got this working pretty nicely. It's still very bright, I think.
Ta-da!
Hi, Satya. Let me see if I can change that a bit. That looks better, doesn't it? Also,
I don't see anything yet.
how about now?
Well, I still have to start Twitter up, so
Oh, great.
I ain't seeing anything.
Fine. I'm going to turn it down a little bit. Okay. So, last time...
Now I can see it.
the time before we got the sun to move through the sky, we had the sky changing color dependent on where the sun is at that point. And last time we actually had like the brightness of the ground also corresponding with where the sun is, so that we have that nice silhouette as the sun goes down. So that looks pretty nice. Yeah. I have, you might notice that I have added the date back in and that it's also counting up. Because eventually I need to work on the date too. Let me show you what I did. I added another for loop in front of the time for loop, which is the day for loop now. And that's simply the last two numbers that is adding up to the date. Other than that, it doesn't do anything. It goes up to 29 right now and it starts at 1. And it doesn't edit the month or the year yet. But that's because we want to actually implement the date later. Still haven't figured out how, but that's for later. So I was thinking for today we can actually put in the moon to do the same thing as the sun. I don't think the moon does the same thing as the sun though. It has a different orbit than the sun does for us from our perspective. So I'm not going to do the same thing that I did with the sun, that it changes how high it is in the sky dependent on the season. Also, one of the things is that we always say the moon comes out when it's night. Well, that's not true. The moon can also be in the sky when the sun is still out. So, I was thinking, how can I do that? And should I put it simply in the sun cycle? Or should it be a thing of its own? What do you think, Satya?
Wait.
Right now,
Yes,
I'm using the sun cycle to calculate where the sun is and what to
yes.
do with the light of like the ground and the sky. But the moon is a thing on its own. It doesn't influence the sky much, as in how bright it is or the ground.
The ground it does, the sky doesn't.
Yeah, but the ground for this case it would be minimal, and we wouldn't really use it that much, I think.
That depends on how. Uh, if it's a full moon, you can see actually quite good at night. But if it's, let's say, 15% moon, you have almost no light. So it really depends on what kind of moon you're going to use.
Yeah, but for now, we could later say like the ground needs to be a little bit brighter when the moon is out, and we can actually say it needs to be blue, kind of thing.
And what also is going to make it difficult if you have a moon going over the screen, so to speak, but you don't see color, the tree won't stand out. So you'll just have light orb going over the background with nothing to see.
Well, if I have the night sky, wait, let me do it like this. If it goes to the night sky actually still has a color. It's kind of dark purplish, and the ground is black. It's turned off, so you can still see kind of a silhouette of the tree. When it goes to, well, you are on a delay, but if you can look when the sun goes down and it goes into night, you can actually still see a silhouette of the tree.
Yeah, if I were you, I should program in a few stars.
Yeah,
That is
I'm
possible.
still going to, but the moon is something that I want to put in first, and if I can actually do that fast, I might actually also put in stars.
But now, if you can see a silhouette, then I wouldn't color anything at night.
No.
And I should just, if I were you, only program in the moon.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, and I can always go back later and make it the tree a little bit more bluish than the background and stuff.
Yeah.
But that's for later. But I was talking about the trajectory that the moon would take, because it's different than what the sun does for us. I could use the same code that we use for the sun to do the moon, and I actually think our moon is bigger.
As what?
Than our sun. Oh no, it's the same pixels. It's 8x8 pixels.
I think it's the in real life. I think they're just as big. It is, if you look at it, the problem is you can't directly look at the sun. The sun looks bigger because it has a very big light around it. But if you look at your tinted glasses, you see that the moon and the sun are just as big because the sun is way farther back than the moon.
Yeah, and or else an eclipse wouldn't be that that tight. If one was a lot bigger from our perspective, from Earth's perspective at least. Okay. So we're just going to use the sun's code to actually make the moon move. And I think I'm going to make that into a different function that's going to do that. for the simple reason that I know that I can actually that way make the moon move independently of the sun in the cycle.
I would make it. How do you say that?
How do you
Let
say?
it go in sync. So if the moon is the highest point, the how do you call that? The moon is on the lowest point, and if the moon is in the highest point, the sun is in the lowest point.
No, because that's not true in real life. Because sometimes the moon is
Yes.
in the sky even when the sun is still up.
Yes, that is true. Technically speaking, yes.
So that's why I want to move the moon independent of the sun.
Well, that's up to you.
It is up to me, and I'm saying that's how I'm doing it. Because I love myself a good
I
moon,
think-
so I want to be true to it.
I think that's a very good idea.
Yes. And I'm going to use the same kind of variables for the moon as I do for the sun, except the zenith I am going to change for phase. Because this function will calculate what the moon is doing, and then will send all that information to the function of the moon that states, okay, this is the position of the moon, this is the position, this is the phase that it's in.
So are you also going to make the moon and the sun appear on the same time in your matrix, or?
Yeah, I can do that. I can make them do that way because
Because-
they move independent of one another.
Then you only have to find the time in real life when that happens.
Yeah. Then I can just use
I think that is in summertime that happens.
what? That the moon comes out during the
Yes.
day. Yeah, but it changes every year. Because technically we have 12 or 13 full moons in a year. It's not the same every year.
Okay.
So can I copy and paste stuff? Without having to wreck my brain about it again. Yeah, sure, why not? I can always take out what is not important. What? Right. So for this one, ground is not important. Sun, I'm going to keep there. I need to know indeed when what's the opposite of noon for the
Opposite of
moon kind of thing.
You mean when the moon is on the highest point?
Yeah.
Midnight? No.
No. I don't need twilight or twilight angle because that has to do with the light. I do need to know the percentage. I don't have anything with seasons in here, so that's also out. Because I'm not doing anything with ground. At this point. I can also throw a ground step out because I'm not doing anything with ground. And I'm not using a zenith. Oh yeah, that's what I was doing. With the idea that I would kind of let's keep the circle center here. Though I do think I want the moon to be more... Here, where do I have my sun?
Where did my sun go?
Where does my sun... Where is my sun in the middle of the day? And of course, then you have to wait until the sun comes back out. Because if I know that, then I can see it. It would be nicer if it really is like on top of the tree. Very much. I think I'm on 3. Yeah, okay. So where the trajectory the sun takes now, I want the moon to have the same thing. So where have I put it on? 4. Okay. So let me take a peek. -4. So radius would be 22. And I told the circle center to be... If that's the center, it's like 4 added pixels. 5. Okay. Yeah, I do need to know that. So this is what happens when the clock is not, so when the moon is not out. Not much is going to happen when the moon is not out.
Oh, but you don't see the night sky well either.
No, because it's moving independent of the night sky. We're going to keep it in the night sky for now, because that's what usually happens. But if we want it to be in the sky when the sun is out, that's not a problem.
The last time you showed the night sky, it was a bit purplish, and you saw a little more light. Now the night sky, I didn't see anything almost.
That's because I have the desk light on. When it's just dark in the room, you can actually see it being purple. A little bit purple. So this is
That-
what happens when it's not that time. I don't really care about that. So we're going to do different. And we're going to... Because this is what we want to happen. So we're going to just move that up. And say... If... Oh! Come back.
Come back here.
And this needs to be an and instead of an or. So, if the clock is more than rise, and the clock is less than full, that's the moment the moon needs to be out. And I'm pasting the phase from the moon cycle. So actually it's just going to give it, keep giving it, the moon cycle doesn't do anything with the phase. It just gives it along to the moon function to actually draw it. There's a fly here and it is really annoying me. Is there something this needs? Total percentage, angle should be right. Should be right. And this stuff, yeah, this stuff is all about the sky, which is not important. Okay. Let's see if this works. We have the sun cycle, and then moon. And we say it's... Oh, that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, it's not gonna work like you thought it would.
No, it has to go through the like reset. If you know what I mean. Right now, the sun goes down when the timer hits 24, it goes back to 0.
Yes.
But if the math that we use is correct, it shouldn't be bothered by the reset and still have like the moon in the right position even when it hits 0.
It should.
Is expected.
Oh, okay, okay. I just
Oh,
love that.
no, that's going to be the problem. Cool. No, it's going to be a problem. But I'll fix it later. First, I want to see if I get any errors at all.
It's going to be a problem, but I'll fix it when it comes up.
Yes. Don't know which number the full moon is, but we'll figure that one out. We're gonna see. First, do I get any errors? No, not yet. See if we get errors when I hit 10, because that's when the moon is supposed to come up.
It's
Hey,
coming after the sun.
moon's coming up.
That's nice.
Yeah.
It's working.
That's working. I wonder what happened if the moon is at the same position as the sun.
They will technically overlaps, I think.
Yeah, but what will it draw? Will it draw the sky behind it, or will it draw the sun behind it?
Technically speaking, the sun would need to be behind it because
Yeah, it will be. The moon is the last thing that gets drawn. So the moon will get drawn on top of the sun. But I wonder, like I have there's a small center to this moon, and right now it shows the same color as the sky behind it. Right?
Oh, and if the sun is behind it,
What does it do? Does it draw the sun or does it draw the sky? I think it's going to draw the sun behind it. I think that's what I told it to do. To look at what's behind it and use that.
well, there's but one way to find out.
Yeah, I'm gonna find out. They're on the similar trajectory, so they should be overlap if they match up with one another. And the moon is visible when the sky is bright. Oh, fuck it, that's just... I'm going to just put them on the same thing. They should rise around the same time, so they should overlap.
Shoot and do are different things, right? You know that, right?
Yeah, it does draw the sun behind it. Okay. Well, this is not really that big of a problem because the eclipse hardly ever happens. Just like once every 10
once
years.
Every 10 years or so.
Yeah. I would have figured how to do it by then, I hope.
That sounds very hopeful.
The problem that I was talking about was that I can tell it to rise at like 8 o'clock, which is 20, and it's going down around like 6 in the morning, right? Are you following me? What? I tell the moon at what time it should rise.
Yes.
And what time it should go back under. Yes.
But nothing in between. The rest
I don't need to do that in between. But the thing is, at midnight, the clock resets to 0.
Yes.
So I'm telling it right now, in the code, I'm telling it to rise at 8. So that's 20. And to go down at 6 in the morning. You're still following me?
What will it do in the middle of the night? Because then it resets.
Yes. Because of this little code. Because I'm telling it from, if the clock is this, if it's more than rise, do something else. So when this is not gonna work.
There's but one way to find out what it does. Calculate it, or let it calculate.
Well, it's not going to give me an error. It's just going to do something entirely different. Because right now the moon should have already be out. And it should go down now. Which it didn't. It didn't even come out. So I think it will now come out at 20. And when it hits 0, it will just stop. And reset the whole thing. I have to recalculate the if. Is the moon coming out, or is it not even going to? No, it's not even going to. The problem of it also is that I can't derive what the noon is either, because the fall is at 6 and the rise is at 20. Are you understanding my problem?
Plus minus.
With the sun, it was easy to calculate the noon, because what I did is just grab like the rise and fall, separate or take the fall and take off the rise. So if I say that the sun would fall at 6, so that's 18, and would rise at 8 in the morning, then it would be 18 minus 6. Then I would have the difference between those two. Then I would add the rise, and then I would know at what time the sun would be at its peak. Right?
Yes.
Yes. That doesn't work with the moon.
Because of that interval when the time resets.
Yeah.
That's going to make it difficult.
No, not necessarily. I just have to wrap my brain around how to calculate.
Can you not make an exception? That he resets everything except the moon?
No, because the timer is just set on it. So that's not going to work. We have to create the moon cycle in such a way that it's counts hours and doesn't look at the time. Maybe?
No. You can make it look. Can you make it look at the output of time?
What do you mean, the
So
output of time?
It doesn't work on the clock, so to speak, but it looks at the time it displays.
Yeah, that's what it's doing right now.
No. Now it listens to the clock, because when it resets, it falls away.
Yeah, because, well, the clock doesn't necessarily reset. It just goes back to 0 as a normal clock does after 24 hours.
Yes, but you have a reset in it, so what is making it not work, so to speak?
Is that I can't tell it on the hour what to do. It's simple mathematics, as not so much as not consider it time or hours, but just consider it as being math.
Yes, but it works over on the day.
Yes, because that's one continuous count up from 0 to 20 to
Yes.
24.
It only stops working the moment it goes over that reset point.
Yes, but that's just how time works.
Yes,
It's
that
not.
means
I
it's
didn't.
linked to the function of the clock.
Yes,
You
because
have
it
to
needs
write
to.
it so that it is not linked to the function of the clock. You have now it's linked to the function. You have to not make it look like at the function, but you have to make it look like at the output.
Yes, but I don't know what you mean with the output. I mean,
Literally,
I didn't program it to reset.
let's say it like this. I have um, um, a calcul an a counter.
Hmm.
The counter uh, re- has a reset on it, and it resets randomly. If a moment I link something with the counter, it also resets because it works on the counter. So everything that's linked to the counter or in the counter resets. Now that's when it's linked to the function. When I wanted to link to the output and not to the counter, I only make it look at the count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, it's reset. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, reset. And then it doesn't reset. It only looks at the count, not at the function, but at the time that it displays.
What is your definition of a function?
Your calculation, the script, that is your function.
Yes, but the output that I am going to get is date and time.
Yes. So you have to not make it look at the function, but at the date and the time.
It already looks at the date and the time.
Apparently not, because it's being reset with the clock. So it looks at the function and not at the time, date and the time.
The clock is the time.
I have no other way of explaining it. Sorry.
Yeah, but it's clocks in general reset after 24 hour. Maybe reset is not the right word. It turns back to 0.
Yes.
And the only thing
But
it
now
adds
you're
up,
looking at-
but the only
now
thing
you're
that
looking
adds
at-
up is the day. So I need
Yes.
to make it look at the day as well.
No. You're now only thinking about it as an.
Because I'm not going to
Yes.
put in a counter for every minute for an entire year.
That's also not the point.
No, but
You're thinking at it only from a point of looking at it like the code. You're not thinking about the output. You're only thinking about the code. Every time you say something, it's about the code.
Yeah, but
You
I
have
don't
to
know
let
what you
the
mean
code
with
go.
output. I don't know what you mean with output. This, for me,
Screen
this
is
is output. Yes.
The screen is the output. So you have to make it look at itself what it outputs.
It is already looking at itself because that's what it's using to calculate what it's supposed to do.
No, it's looking at the script behind it.
Yes, because that is the output.
No, that's the script that's running the output.
Then how do I get the output?
That is what I don't know. Because I'm not a I can only look at I'm not a programmer. That's the problem.
Yes, and that's why I don't think you know what you're talking about. Because you're using also different terminology that means something different in programming.
Yes, I know. And that's why I don't know how to explain it to you.
I'm just going to do math.
Yes.
And just working with the idea that if the fall is lower than the rise, then it simply has to add 24 to it. How does that sound?
Say it again. What?
I can make an if statement that looks at if the fall is lower than the rise in amount, in like number, that it should add 24 to it. 24, yeah. With the idea that it's the next day.
no idea how that works. But
Well, I also
if you think it
still have
works,
no idea what you mean, so I can't really.
we're working past each other.
Yeah.
Thinking past each other.
Okay.
Well, do what you think is good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I need to look at this if statement. This if statement is not going to work. Do I look at noon? No, I do not. So this is not going to be correct. That's something that I need to change. My notes. So right now, for instance, I say that the moon should come up at that time, and I want it to go down at that time. So basically this time is 24 hours minus that, because that would give us 4 hours, plus that one, would say that the moon is out for 10 hours. And the noon of that, even though I can calculate the noon of it in my code, but I don't see why I would, because I'm not using it. Actually, but that would be like 5 hours. So we would say that be 1 in the morning would be like the highest point for the moon to be. Okay. Now, how do I calculate the percentage of which it would be going? Because for the moon, we have the fall minus the rise. That's not going to work for this one. So we have to recalculate it differently. And I just did. It's this calculation. Okay. So.
If it works, it works.
If it works, it works. Yes. So. We're saying. Come on. Don't be so. It's 24 minus the rise. So that would give us the time before midnight until midnight. That's the first thing it needs to calculate. And then plus rise. No, plus fall. Sorry, reverse thinking.
You have all the time in the world.
So that should give us the percentage. The correct percentage. Okay, so that's one problem solved. The other problem is that this if statement is not going to work. So I need to change this if statement. Into what?
Another if statement. That does work. Sorry. I'll sit in a corner.
Well, think about it with me. Which if statement would work?
I have no idea.
Because when it goes through the midnight and the clock resets to 0, this will no longer be right. So this if statement will not go off. Maybe I can make it add up to the clock. Keep adding to the clock. To make the clock extend past 24.
I have no idea how that goes. Sorry.
You do know how an if statement works, right?
Yes.
If this is true, then do that. The if is what I'm struggling with right now. I have a clock that runs from 0 to 24.
Yeah, but I only don't know I know the if logic because I have used logic gates before, but I don't know precisely how if works in programming.
It is just a logic gate in programming. You can only, but with programming you can be more specific in what it checks.
There you lose me.
But it's also it's always mathematics. Either one value is greater than the other, or a value is similar, and then it does something.
Yes. I get that part.
But there's nothing more than that to it. Maybe I should break it up.
Nah, never mind.
No? What is your thoughts?
It just went.
Yeah, it's sometimes difficult to wrap your head around it. And now I'm making it an if, and it checks two values when they're true. And that's... Maybe I should break it up into two things instead of trying to cram two checks into one. So now let's... If it's greater than rise, clock is greater than rise. And I could say it if it's before, if it's after midnight. No, that's not gonna work either. How difficult could this possibly?
It's a program. It's not meant to be easy.
Well, some of it is.
Yeah, some. And if it isn't, then it's called programming.
Mm. Oh, and I also need to put this in an if statement though. This would only work in this thing. If rise is smaller than fall. No. Is bigger than fall. Then do this. Else, with the idea that if it does go over the midnight threshold, it will calculate it this way. But if it doesn't, so if it goes during the day, I can use the original calculation for it. I need to, or else something entirely different will come out, I think. And I think I need to do the same thing, actually. With this. Let's just break it up and see if we can find it that way. Nope. Is your brain hurting already?
Yes. I admit that. Without any problem. My brain already went poof.
Already went poof?
It already went poof.
I don't do poof.
No poof?
No poof.
You do squishy then?
Squishy?
Yes. If you don't go poof, then maybe squishy.
Nah. Nah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So right now I made it do an if-else statement. It checks on what the rise and fall is.
Mm-hmm.
So if the rise is bigger than the number of fall, it will execute this one. So it will calculate the percentages right. But we still have to make the if statement for the moon, but something else. And if it's not, so if it doesn't go through the midnight threshold, it will just do like the similar calculations that we used for the sun. And that should work. Fan.
Technically speaking.
Technically speaking. I don't like the structure of this, but I can do it later. Because this is still not correct, but okay. I can grab this out though. I think. Let's just.
Have you saved it anywhere before you?
Of course not.
That would make it easy.
Yes. By living on the wild side. No, I'm still doing something stupid. Which is, this can only be calculated after I establish what happens here. So, oop. And I'm having a feeling that this one only works for what we're doing here. It doesn't work for that one. But this should be similar to regardless of what time it is. So that can be taken out. But this thing is going to be here. But it's Python and it wants an else. Or else it's going to throw a fit. Okay. Oh. I still don't know how to do this if statement. Or maybe I'm looking at it the wrong way.
If statements are difficult, I already hear.
No, they're not. But only if you have a continued number that doesn't halfway go back to 0. But what doesn't go back to 0 is the time in between. So maybe that's what I need to put the if statement on. So if the clock is less than rise, current clock is more than full, it's just the reverse, isn't it? I'm an idiot. No, don't answer that.
I'm not saying anything.
Okay. I
just
know
found
that this
it
one
funny.
is correct. But first, I am going to check if I don't get any errors in my code. So far, no errors. But I didn't change the moon, did I? Or did I? Did I? Yes, I did change. Wait. It just showed up.
Did I change or did I not change?
My moon just showed up here.
Only there, and then it went away.
Ah, I got an error. Tulip index out of range. Okay. So there was two things. My moon got drawn over the ground, which is not good.
Which shouldn't happen, technically.
No, but I'm drawing... Oh god, it's a layering issue. Yeah, it's that's one thing. It's a layering issue, but I know what the problem is. That's because I'm drawing the ground together with the sun, and I'm telling it to draw the moon after that. So the moon is technically in front of the ground. So that's why it goes wrong there. That's not a big problem. I can change that. The reason that I'm getting this index out of bound is because it's trying to draw the moon outside of the boundaries of my matrix. And it can't. That's why I'm getting that problem. And the reason I don't have that problem with the sun is because I'm telling it to stop the sun when it gets there. And it's not doing the same with the moon. It's trying to ride the moon further than it's supposed to go. Which is weird.
Problem.
Yes. I fixed it in the sun by saying that the radius is small. Until the circle center to be a little bit above. I put the circle center a little bit above with the idea that if it goes... So it's the angle that's the problem? Okay. Let's first put the moon cycle inside the boundaries. It's kind of interesting. It starts the moon here, though. Not. Guess that's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine. It's fine. Hmm. Okay. So I'm not getting an out of bound error. So it's that piece of the code is working. But this takes a shitload of time, so I am going to make it easier on myself. By simply not letting the sun come up. Yay! Well, that works a lot faster.
Sun, don't come up anymore.
Okay, so that part is working. So most likely the part of things are going wrong is here. And what I think is happening is this part. Because why? It's most likely why that's going wrong. Going beyond its boundary. Okay. Blip. Okay. So oh, why is this axis? Huh? Okay. And it's X. Then it's X that's the problem. Okay. So what I think it's doing, it's adding more to X than it actually could. With the idea that it wants to complete the circle downward, maybe? Instead of upward?
That would be funny. But you can't see that part.
No, I can't. I can print it out, but the moment it goes below, I get the error again. But let's just do that. It's faster now, so it should work fine. Go for me! Okay. Oh, that runs a lot faster, doesn't it? Alright, at 16 I already get an out of bounds. While it shouldn't be up. Oh wait. It's doing stuff it shouldn't do. Okay. Oopsie. Where the hell is it going? And what time is it doing that? Lucky for me, I already have a print clock in here. I'm going to put it sooner. Go and say print. Go, go, go. Okay. At 11, it already comes up. No, at 7 it already comes up. Why is it coming up at 7? And it is indeed trying to go into the negative, which for height is not a good thing. Why is it coming up at 7? Something not going the way you want?
Yes.
Okay, something else happened now. Oh no. No, it gets triggered at 7 still. But why at 7? Smaller than rise. 7 is not smaller than 20. 7 is smaller than 20, but is bigger than 4. 7 is bigger. I thought it was too good to be true. Of course it's gonna start at 7.
Not going as planned with you either.
No, I thought I had it without actually thinking about it, and I don't. It's gonna start to rise at 7 because the clock is then at 7 o'clock it's smaller than my rise, which is 20, and it's bigger than my fall, which is 6. So yes, it's going to start at 7. I know that the solution is pretty simple, but I just can't see it right now. My brain is frying. It's slowly cooking. I should have paid more attention in math. But I didn't. Can I link an and or? Let's look at Python functions and for loop. If I can link multiple together. Because then it's going to be, if the clock is bigger than rise, and is because it cannot be bigger than rise and smaller than fall. Or can it? I would still have the same thing as this though. But then it would not be an and, because that won't work. It will be an or. Let's go for another try. And I immediately get, but it triggers right. It triggers immediately, which is good. The problem is it's still trying to get it out of, make it start here on this line instead of there. Does that have to do with my total percentage? Maybe I should print my total percentage. my total percentage cannot be a negative. Minus 60. Okay. If I for now say, I don't want you to print my moon yet, then I shouldn't get the error and I can actually read out what it's doing. Okay. Get 0. Is it a negative? In the sense that if I don't know why it's a negative though. Again. Oh, I am doing this on the wrong one. Whoopsie. This isn't accurate either.
That worked.
Hi, Fun Eyes. I'm just trying to figure out why 100 minus 50. Oh. Because minus adding up minus is plus. It is really getting late. Okay, int object isn't callable. It's not an integer. Ban. I'll turn you into an integer. An integer you shall be. Yeah, okay. What? It didn't need to be an integer before. Why does it need to be an integer now? Or do I actually need to say plus? Okay. So that was my problem.
Yeah, you fixed your problem.
Yes. So now if I turn the moon back on, it's technically should work. Let's put my moon back on. Oh. Should come up at 20. It comes up at 20, but it's not starting where it should start. But at least I'm not getting the error anymore. So cool. Oh, this is horrible. Okay, let's have a look, see what my timer is doing. Okay. So at 20, 21. Is it already giving me the total of 250? Okay. That's most likely because I'm using the fall for the total percentage. I know it has everything to do with this code.
But you just don't know how to fix it yet.
Yeah, I don't know how to fix it yet. I think it's going to need to be an if statement that checks the time, as in that it calculates it differently after we have passed midnight. That might be a thing. A thing. That I indeed am going to break this up into an if, an else if. An else if. Hmm. And this shouldn't be a thing on this one. Okay, I'm not getting error. What happens when 20 hits? Woohoo! I got it! And you can hardly see it passing 0. It doesn't really... The arc continues nicely. Which is nice. Oh, I like this. I was scared I would be very frustrated. Okay, let's turn everything back on. And see if that doesn't break stuff.
Break it till you make it.
Yeah, no, let's not. Okay. I don't want to break it. I'm already making it. I don't need to break it to make it.
Fine, fine.
Whatever. Dude. You're no fun.
You're not breaking enough.
Yeah. Hey, the moon's already out.
At the time it's supposed to, or?
Yeah. It needs to go down at 6, which it is. And now the sun, because the sun's coming up at 3. I know 3 in the morning is quite early for the sun. But you can already see how much, yeah, it's so much slower. And I've already figured out that's because of the calculations of the sky. Which slowing it down so much. So I'm thinking about changing the code of the sky a bit so that during certain periods of the day it won't be that slow anymore. And there is the moon. Nicely going. I know my brain shouldn't be hurting, but it is.
Brain fart.
Yeah, it's always like you start with the idea, oh, this is not difficult. I can just copy the code of the sun because it's going to do the same thing. And then figure out, oh no, you have to go past midnight, things reset, and that's going to be a problem. Yeah, okay. But we actually we got pretty far, didn't we? Right?
What?
That we got pretty far.
Yes.
Okay, good. I'm not going to change the trajectory of the moon. And now all I need to do is tell it to change the phases of the moon and go like... I think 1 is full moon, or maybe 0 is full moon. I should really put that in my notes. but I can make the moon move and scrape that off my to-do list. Yeah, 0 is a full moon. I am going to have to rearrange.
Seriously.
Hmm? Okay. I have to draw the moon after the sun. But now you can hardly see that the moon is not doing right because you can hardly see the silhouette of the ground. Cool. So I think I'm going to keep it there for today. I wanted to do the stars, but it's already getting late and coding for 2 hours is, yeah.
Not good for your health.
Not good for my brain. It's already hurting. So stars will be for next time, and I also most likely am going to be doing the sky code as well to make it speed up a bit. Though I do like it that the speed that it calculates things overall is the same, so the delay is the same everywhere. And if I'm going to like do the night sky, it will speed only up during the night sky, and during dawn and dusk it is going to lag. But at least I can look at the code and see if I can change that. And if we have more time, if everything goes according to plan, which it hardly ever does, but if we do have time, I want to fix the display of the time in the sense that if it now goes to 0, I have just 1 0 here. And if the hour is before midday, I have 3 digits here instead of 4. What do you think would be better, Svetja? If I have 4 digits here or 3, because right now it like hits 0, and then it goes from 1 again, and I only have like 3 digits here. And when it goes to like 10 o'clock, it will go back to 4 digits. I think it should be. Shouldn't it be like 4 digits?
How do you mean? Shouldn't it be 4 digit?
As in a 0 in front of the number if we are still like in the single digit or the... How do you say that in English? Like before you hit 10 o'clock?
Oh, you mean that you want to put a 0 in front of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
yes,
7, 8.
Yes.
Like an actual digital clock.
Yeah. Technically, I should do that.
I find this having its own charm, technically speaking.
Yeah. But it does funk up my like
Feng shui.
No, not that, but like the code as in scene. The code is like year, month, day, hour, minutes. So then you actually need to have that 0 in front, or else it's the whole thing doesn't work. In my mind, it still continues working in code. That's not going to be a problem.
Let me put it like this: if it's needed, put it in. If it's not needed, why do it?
Yeah, and I think I will have to tweak it anyway when we actually put in the time, or link it to a time module that keeps the time. Because right now it's just a counter that goes up, but eventually I'm going to input actual time that like check what time it is, and most likely it will actually give it to me in 4 digits.
Then it's better to put it in 4-digit.
Yeah, or I'm just gonna leave it then for now until I actually know what it looks like, the output of the time time thing, how it actually like conforms or denotes time and date. It would be ideal though if it would denote date the way I actually want to show it. That would be really nice, because then I don't have to like put in extra math to recalculate the stuff to get it to display the way that I want it to display. But yeah, that's just me. I'm weird, I know. But we have a moving sun, we have a moving moon that actually works with time. We have a ground that actually also works with time. So it's taking shape, which I really like. Okay. So, let me... Ha. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you, Sretje, for your moral support.
No problem.
Yeah. Also, wouldn't invite you. If any of you have tips, suggestions,
Tricks,
any help at all, please let me know so I can use that. Because you might notice if you've been following me, I really
use it.
I can really use it indeed. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.